Okay, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira Dava Baruch Hashem. Today we're down in the classroom because upstairs was whatever. But Baruch Hashem, we have a place to learn. That's the main thing. Main thing is we have a place to learn. Baruch Hashem. And it's Baruch Hashem, it's Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Parsha Shmini, very exciting. It's Shabbos Mevorchim, right? Shabbos Mevorchim. And okay, so we're going to continue with learning our Sefira project. We're learning from the beautiful Sefer Sfartem Lachem from Rav Daniel Fritz Zatzal. And today is Hayom Shneim also Yom Shehem Shavuot Echad V'Chamisha Yom Lomer. Today is the 12th day of the Omer, which is it's day 12, which is 1 week and 5 days to the Omer. Today is the Midah of Hod Shebegvura. Hod Shebegvura. Hod means to give thanks. Hodah, right? To give thanks, to praise, right? This is the midah of Hodah. And who was that? That was based on Aharon HaKohen. Aharon HaKohen is the midah of Hod. Midah of Hod, unbelievable. I mean, you could see from the parsha alone this week. I mean, if you realize, if you go through the parsha and you see how in the beginning of the parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu tells Aaron, go and do your service. Aaron says, I can't. He can't go in. Why? He saw in the corners of the Mizbeach, he saw the Egel Azov. He saw the golden calf. I can't. And then Moshe Rabbeinu says, no, go do it. So the Chazal say that because he was so humble that he didn't want to go do it, that's why he was chosen. Lekach nivcharta. You were chosen because you were so humble. But what happened? He goes in and he does his service like he's supposed to do, right? The Torah tells us. And then the fire didn't come down, nothing happened. Didn't work. So then Moshe and Aharon went into the Mishkan. They davened, they bowed to Hashem, and they prayed. And then all of a sudden, you see the fire comes down, everything's great. Next thing happens, Nadav and Avihu, the two illustrious sons of Aharon, take their fire pans, they go into the Mishkan, they go in, and they get consumed. But you notice, Aharon didn't say to Moshe, hey, I told you I shouldn't have done this. Right? He lost his two sons. Moshe, Aaron's wife's name was Elisheva. She was so proud of her husband. The Medrash says she was so proud of her husband that finally, wow, look at this. My brother-in-law, Moshe, is the Melech. He's like the king. And now my husband is going to be the head priest. Unbelievable. And then her two sons, Nadav and Avihu, were supposed to be the Skan Kahanim. They were supposed to be the ones right underneath. And now she finds herself in mourning. But he didn't say anything. Vayidai Mahara. Unbelievable when you think about it. But he realized it's all from Hashem. And it's just amazing. It's really just amazing when you see the Kayach and the Tzaddikim. Right? Who can understand that? His two great sons, and there's different reasons why. There's 4 different reasons why they may have died. One says that they didn't wash their hands with the kior, the copper basin. They didn't wash their hands. That's one opinion. Another one is they were Moira Halacha Lefnei Rabbi in front of Moshe Rabbeinu, the Rebbe. They paskin halacha in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. You're not allowed to do that. Okay. Another one is Shisuya Yayin. Right? They drank. They were inebriated. You're not allowed to do that. Right? You're not allowed to do that. And then the 4th one is they weren't married. Rabbi Nosson speaks a lot about that. What does it mean they weren't married? They didn't want to bring. The whole point we get married is because the women, in general, they're not happy people in general. We have to make them happy. Women in general, their midah is they're always worried about things. They're always tired. But when you marry a lady and then you take care of the lady, right? The Gemara says that they really a women, they prefer to be married. A woman prefers to be married. Why? Because if she's married, she has someone taking care of her. Otherwise, she has to be worried about it, right? But the fact that Nadav and Avihu didn't want to get married because they felt they wanted to be so close to Hashem. They didn't want to get married. They didn't want to be bogged down by the ladies. Sometimes the women, sometimes it takes time. You have to spend a lot of time with dealing with things in the house, right? They didn't want to be deal with that. So Rav Nosson says that was really the problem, because the whole point is you're supposed to lift people up. You're supposed to lift people up. You're supposed to take them from the yoga and anocha and bring them to simcha. Take them from the pain and the groan and the moan and all of that and bring them up to the side of simcha. They didn't do that. Okay, but they were great people. Let's just remember that these were people that were on the level. They were almost as great as Moshe and Aaron. They were great people. Whatever, Hashem has his cheshbonos, why they did it, whatever, it's not for us to understand. But the main thing is that Aaron, he accepted it.
They also knew that there was going to be a major korban of a human. I mean, somebody was going to die. They knew that. I mean, somebody was going to die. They thought to be the only ones, but I mean, it was.
Yeah. So some say that they were thinking themselves. They were thinking themselves that they're really greater than Moshe and Aaron, and they were waiting for them to dust it, and they would take over. There's so much talk on it. There's so many things. There's so many different ways to learn it. Like we always say, and it is the Shivim Panim LaTorah, right? There's 70 different aspects of Torah, right? So of course, with every story and everything, you can learn it out so many different ways, right? But the main thing is that Aharon Vayidam Aharon. Some of the Sfarim say, what does it mean? It's a very funny lashon Vayidam. Why doesn't it say that it was shasak? He was quiet. Why does it say Vayidam? So some say that his heart became like a domain. His heart became like an inanimate object, like domain. You have the 4 categories in life. In creation, you have domain, sameya, chai, medaber, right? So his vayidam, a lashon of dom, it became like this, and he just wasn't he wasn't dealing with his emotions. He wasn't dealing with the emotion, because think about it. I mean, how is it possible that he's able to continue? How is it possible? He sees his 2 sons got burnt. 2 sons. So Vayidam, his heart, he put his heart, it made it like it was almost like an inanimate, like a rock. Mm-hmm. At the moment, Vayidam Aaron, in order to be able for him to be able to go on. And he did. Okay. Let's see what Rav Daniel Frisch has to say. That was a few things on the parsha. There's so many other things on the parsha, but whatever. Okay. He says like this: B'chol gvura shezoicha le'izgaber al taivas yitzrei. Here we go. Anytime that the Yetzer Hara is bothering you, and you're able to overpower the Yetzer Hara, right? Happens sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice feeling, right? V'hasik al yodai eskiyam rotzain habayri yizbarach, and through that you're mekayim what Hashem wants you to do, right? Because you overpower the Yetzer Hara. Give right away thanks to Hashem. Thank Hashem that you were victorious over the Yetzer Hara. Because He sent the Yetzer Hara to you to challenge you, right? If you won the challenge, hey, thank Hashem that He helped you, gave you the ability to overpower the Yetzer Hara. It's a beautiful thing. So notice again, today is Hod. And Hod Sebigvura. So when you have the Gvura of overpowering the Yetzer Hara, say thank you to Hashem. Hod Sebigvura, you understand? And he goes on to say, Yeah. V'yia neged einav mama chazal shamru imoli HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oizrei eina yochaloi. The Chazal tell us in Masech the Sukkah, right? On Nun Beis Amid Aleph, the Lamolei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oizrei eina yochaloi. If Hashem didn't help us, we would never be able to overpower the Yetzer Hara. The Gemara says that. In other words, if Hashem wasn't helping us, we think it's we're okay on our own and we can take care of ourselves. But no. The Gemara says that without HaKadosh Baruch Hu helping us, it will be impossible for us to overpower the Yetzer Hara, for us to be here now. Right? So the fact that we're here now, we have to thank Hashem. Right? That we're not staying in bed like all the rest of the people, right? A lot of people are still in bed, right? It's 5 to 7. A lot of guys are still sleeping, right? Yeah. But we're here. So we have to thank Hashem. We were his Gabra on the Yetzer Hara. He wants us to stay in bed. Unbelievable. Okay. Nimsa mashlim amasag is midas hagvura ayidei midas hahayt. So you can be mashlim, you can fulfill the midah of gvura through hod. Right? The fact that I was able to overpower the Yetzer Hara, how am I, and now I give thanks to Hashem. But this is a very important thing to do all the time. This is not just for today. This is anytime the Yetzer Hara is bothering you, and you're able to overpower the Yetzer Hara, stop for a second and say thank you to Hashem. Thank Hashem. You want to do something that you're not supposed to do, and you overpower that feeling, you overpower that thought. So stop for a second, say thank you Hashem for helping me, for that victory. I had a victory. Say thank you.
And if you can't overcome it, say Hashem, help me.
Of course, if you're having trouble, so then you turn to Hashem and you cry out to Hashem. Of course, hey Hashem, it's only if you could say like this: Ilmolei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Oizrei eina yochaloi. So Hashem, look, I need your help now. Remember, you said to me in Masech the Sukkah, you said these words here, right? That you're going to help me. Okay, hey Hashem, I need your help now. I need your help now. Help me now. And then when he helps you, thank you, Hashem. Give thanks to Hashem. Then there's another piece here. Let's look at another one. This is Bein Adam L'Chaveri. That was between you and Hashem. If sometimes you have to act in a way of gvura to somebody, right? Whatever you have to... maybe you have to give them a bill, right? Sometimes they don't like that, right? This is something, it could be any kind of thing, but midah of gvura, right? The guy's coming to collect his rent, right? Midah of gvura, right? Or to give rebuke to somebody. Es elu shezochu l'skabe b'maseo k'moisai, right? V'chein yehalel v'yoidei l'haboire yizbarach al ma'at ha'toiv sheyesh b'zeh ha'adam sheshemeya l'teicha chosai. Right? Give always thanks. It's a tough one here, right? No, it's rebuke. The idea of gvura, right? The idea of gvura is what? Is you have to hold back. Right? So you're trying to give someone rebuke, right? You're trying to help them, right? But again, and Chazal say, Rabbi Akiva said, in our generation, is there anyone that can really rebuke, right? Rabbi Akiva said that. Right? Rabbi Akiva said, in my generation, is there anyone that can really rebuke, right? But the thing is that you really look into the goodness of the person. Sometimes when you're rebuking somebody, you're only focusing on that thing. Wait a second, you have to realize, this is a good guy. This is a good person. He's a good guy. And what am so I just have to tell him how good he is, maybe, and then just say, by the way, this little thing here. You know what I'm saying? There's a way you can approach somebody that you can really make a big difference, right? Right? If you approach someone, you build them up, and then in the end, you just say, by the way, That's very different than you walk over and say, yeah, you know what you did? Right? Because otherwise what happens is when you do that, the other guy's defense goes up. And he won't hear a word you're saying anyway. Right. But you have to do it in a way that you build the person up, you speak to the person a little bit, and then you just kind of glide it in there, you know? But you don't, that's not the focus. וכן ישנאי גם ויוסי מייחיח לעצמי ונשבע ליבי בקרבי על רחוקי. Right? And again, when we're doing that to ourselves also, sometimes we have to give ourselves a little rebuke. Right? So do it the same way. Do it the same way. Hey, look at all these nice things I did today. Right? Rav Nosson taught us that all the time, right? In Reish Pei Beis. Right? Rabbi Nachman's Torah, right? Right? Azamra, right? Right. Find the good in yourself, find the good in others. But the main thing is find the good in yourself. So when you're rebuking yourself, do it in a way, wait a second. Hey, look at all these good things I did. Okay, I have to work on these things. I got to work on this. But I do have a lot of good things also. It's not like I don't have anything good. I have a lot of good things. I have to work on some things. And then you'll be able to go out of whatever bad thing that you're involved in. If you do it in the right way, you have to always. It's all about the psychology. It's all about the psychology. If you build yourself up, if you build the other one up, and then you bring down whatever you have to explain to him, whatever the mistake was. So then, if you build the person up, of course it'll be easier for the person to listen because his defenses aren't up, right? So if your defenses are up, you don't listen to anything. You just bounce everything off. It doesn't go in. But if you build the person, he wants to hear praise, right? People like to hear this good guy. They like to hear it, and they're listening to that. And then you just kind of get that in there, then you can listen to it. The same thing with us. You can't just say, you're no good, I'm no good. No, you're good. Okay, we got to work on this thing, we got to work on that thing. And then that's how you'll be able to get out of whatever thing that you're the person is. V'koyach zeh hatoiv shahayda loyal Hashem yizbarach v'nimse mashlam es midas hagvura midas hahoid. And it's so beautiful in the Sefer over here. That's why I picked this piece. He takes this idea. He has the note on the bottom, the Oros. He took it from Tesva. He says, Ayin bazeh b'sefer Likutey Maran chelik aleph simin reish pei beis barichos nifla. He says, Rav Daniel Frisch took this idea that we just learned from Likutey Maran reish pei beis, and he quotes. That's where he took it from. Isn't it amazing? It's very nice. Okay, it happens once in a while. It's very, very nice. Okay, and the Mitzvah Hashem, let's just do also, we'll look at the next Sefira for tomorrow, right? Tonight is going to be Yesod Sheba Malchus, Sheba Gvura, right? Yesod Sheba Gvura, right? Right?
Tonight is my great-grandfather's gravesite.
Oh, wow. Great-grandfather. Oh, should be a little nishmas?
Yosef Yitzchak.
Yosef Yitzchak?
Again, Yesod Sheba Gvura.
Yosef Yitzchak, wow.
Ben Avram
Ben Avram
Yeshua.
Yeshua, wow, Yosef Yitzchak on the night of Yosef Yitzchak. Wow. In that order.
He was real tzaddik.
What?
He was real tzaddik. Picture of him.
Oh, wow. Hasidic Shi'id?
Yeah.
Wow.
What happened to you?
Shalom is great. Hey. What did we just learn?
I know.
Very kind eyes. Where was he from?
He was from Galicia.
Galicia? Yeah.
Dukla.
Who? Where? Dukla. Okay, so that's going to be, so tonight it's going to be the 13th night. So let's see, so that's the midah. So Yitein ha'adam elibay ki kidei sheyiska liyiras Hashem yesh li la'achas b'madregas tzadik. Right, Yosef HaTzadik was known as the Tzadik, right? Yosef HaTzadik. Why? Because he was always able to overpower the Yetzer Hara, right? We know that the Chazal tell us that every day he would come to work. Ashes Potiphar would put on different outfits. She would put on different dresses to try to get his attention. He never looked at her. Can you believe that? Amazing. A young man, A young man comes to work in the house, and the lady of the house wants to seduce him. But he doesn't even pay attention to her. It boiled her blood. It boiled her. What is this? I bought this fancy outfit here and he doesn't even see it? Mida tzaddik, right? Tzaddik. And whatever we do, we have to be careful to watch our bris. What does that mean? Shmiras einayim. Watch what we see. We have to watch who we talk to. Watch what we listen to, and so on. In the way you speak, and your words that you choose to use, right? Shekain anu maitziyim b'Yosef. That's how we found with Yosef Atzadik. Sha'acha sha'omer b'nisoyin. H's paitifa v'shomer's brisai. Right after we see when he was able to overcome that very day, that everyone else was out dealing with their holiday. Right, everyone else was out dealing with the holiday. It was a big holiday in Mitzrayim. It was the holiday of the Nile River, right? And there was their god. The Nile River was their god, right? So they all went to their churches, whatever it was, to praise because of the Nile River. Mrs. Potiphar said, "I don't feel too good today. I'll stay home. I don't feel good. I'll stay home." Right? So she stayed home, and then that was the day. Everyone else, there was no one there. There was nobody there. Remember I told you there was one little girl there that was there, right? Remember I told you that?
One little girl?
Yeah. The daughter of Dina. That was given away. Oh, that's another. We discussed that already. Remember that? Right, Yaakov Avinu put her on the road, and then she wound up coming down, and Potiphar wound up seeing the baby, took the baby, but she had the little amulet. Right. She had the little amulet that said that she was Jewish. Remember we learned about that, right? Right?
Yeah.
And that was what she threw at Yosef after. That's what she threw at Yosef after. And then that's how Yosef was actually saved, because she went over, she saw what happened. This little kid saw what happened. The kids always see, right? The kids know. The kids really know. So she went to her stepfather, Mr. Potiphar. She said, hey, it's not exactly what mommy said over here. It's not exactly what happened. She told him the truth. She said that Yosef came in to work, and he wasn't paying any attention to her, and then mommy was bothering him. That's why Yosef wasn't put to death. That's why he wasn't put to death, right? He wasn't put to death. He was actually he went to jail because he Mr. Potiphar felt bad. I know the truth now. How can I kill the guy? So I put him in jail. Unbelievable. But he got his. Good morning, honey. Morning. But he was able to overcome that, and that's where the Torah gave him the title of tzaddik. That's when he got his title of tzaddik, right? Zocha l'toyer tzaddik. He got the title of tzaddik. V'heyed al atzmai b'fanav achiv v'amar esolikim ani yorei. He said to his brothers, "I fear Hashem." He said that to his brothers when his brothers came down, right? And he revealed himself. He says, "Elikim ani yorei." I fear Hashem. V'nimsa masig yirosai shel habayre yizbarach ayedei achizosai b'midas b'madregas tzaddik. So in other words, the whole point is, if you want to be able to become somebody, and you want to get that title of tzaddik, to be that way of a tzaddik, you have to do things like the tzaddikim. And one of the things that tzaddikim, we have to watch what we see, what we do. Shmiras einayim, shmiras haloshen, shmiras aznayim. We have to watch what we hear. We have to watch what we say, what we see, and so on. And that's where we can get the midah. So that's tomorrow. Well, it's actually tonight. The midah of Yesod Shebegvura. So you need to use the gevura You need what's going to give you the ability to use to be able to overcome the different situations when you have the midah of yesod. So today you need the midah yesod. Today is the midah of hod shebigvura, right? We said the main thing is to praise Hashem when you're miskaber, when you overpower, right? That's the main thing, is to praise Hashem because you were able to miskaber. And remember that if Hashem didn't help you, you could never be miskaber, right? And then the midah of Yesod is that when you actually are dealing with the situation, realize that Elikim ani yarei, I fear Hashem, the yiras Hashem, that'll give you the ability to overpower the Yetzer Hara for the taivas of the znus and all the other stuff. Okay, so that's the 2 days, and the Mitzvah Hashem will be up to 14 on Sunday. All right, so I just wanted to do 13, so that way we covered the day for. Okay, so let's go now Likutey Halachos, and today we're in Likutey Halachos Baruch Hashem, and today we're in Hilchos Masa Matan, right? The business law we coined it, right? And we're in Halacha Dalid, and today we're up to Vav. Okay, Vav. So Rab Nosson is bringing here. This is called the Roshei Prakim of Sfiras Omer. Right? Isn't that interesting? He's sticking in here something is Sfiras Omer. We'll just learn about Sfiras Omer, and here Rav Nosson is telling us Sfiras Omer. Isn't that beautiful? I think it's beautiful. Right? I think it's beautiful. Okay, so let's see what so again, these are very short notes. Rav Nosson is just giving you like little pointers of things we're going to see when we get to Sfiras Omer in Likutey Halachos, but he just stuck it in here now to give us a little present. I think so beautiful. We'll see what we could do, but it's really written in very, very shorthand. So here we go. Right. So what was the Omer Sa'orim? Right. On Pesach we brought the Omer Sa'orim. Right. What was the Omer Sa'orim? That was the barley offering. Remember? Mm-hmm. Right. We brought the barley offering, and then he did the waving. Right. He had to wave it. Right. And he waved it in all 6 directions, right? The Kohen waved it in all 6 directions, the Omer Sa'orim, right? Why is it barley? The Sfarim say, the Zohar says, why was it barley? Because when it comes to Pesach, the beginning of Pesach, we're still part of, we were still in it had that Mitzrayim attitude. Right, and we were doing things more in an animalistic way, not in a human way. We were going on more of our emotions, not emotions, our instincts, right? Instincts to do things like an animal. So therefore, the Torah tells us to bring the Omer Sa'orim, right? Hey, you guys, animals eat barley, right? Animals eat barley. So okay, so you bring a barley offering because that's similar to what you are. Right, the Gemara also says when we say in the morning v'shachat oisei hayerach hamizbeach, right, in the Kabbalah v'shachat oisei hayerach hamizbeach. If a person feels v'shachat oisei, when I feel that I'm really the one that's supposed to be standing here, right, that I'm supposed to be the one standing here. You see how the Kabbalahs are done in this way. Hashem does things in this way that we should learn where we are and where we're holding. But then don't forget when it came to Shavuos. What was the offering we brought to the Beis Hamikdash? We brought the Shnei Alechem, right? Bread. Yeah, bread. People food. Yeah. Because we purified ourselves. We got out of the way of the animal, and we purified ourselves to get the Kabbalah Sator. Oh, now we can have bread like a human being.
The only other barley offering is from the Sultan.
The Sultan, yeah. Isn't it interesting? No, but it's so when you understand the message behind each thing, you see how beautiful and how perfect everything is in the Torah. It's unbelievable. Did you know that before, Yana? Did you ever hear that? No. Does it make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. Okay. If you speak to your father, he'll know that for sure. No question in my mind. In order to be able to get the shefa, here we go, a bigvul uzman. So we're learning this whole idea, right? And this whole idea based on lesson 76 in Likutey Moharan, right? What is the idea? That there's an idea of the re'iyah, when I see things. Isn't that amazing? We just learned about Yosef Atzadik, Re'iyah, right? Shmiras Einayim, right? So he says there's the Or HaYashar, and then there's the Or HaChozer. Or HaYashar, Or HaChozer, right? I see something, I focus in on it. When I focus in on it, the Or HaYashar, the Or HaChozer comes back to me, right? And then I can get what I need in the proper Zman, right? When Hashem knows what I need. Like we say, Einei Chalilechi is Aberu, V'ata Noisin Lahem, Es Achlam Be'ito. What does Ito mean? Time. In that proper time, right? Be'ito, when they need it. Right? So that is when we watch what we're seeing, and we were looking always to Hashem and hoping to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to get the shefa from Hashem, that He'll look back at me and give me my shefa bigvul of Zman when I need it, and in the right vul, because I made the kli based on my re'iyah. When I'm looking towards Hashem, I make the vessel, so I want to get the right amount that it doesn't overflow in my kli. I need a big enough kli. Right? Hashem will give me a big enough kli to hold all the bounty and all the blessing and all the parnasa that I need in my kli. Isn't that amazing? Uvizman. Okay, here, let's go to the next thing. Okay, again, these are just pointers. These are just pointers of the ideas we're going to see in Likutey Halachos when it comes to Sefira Cyber. Bezeo bechinas kabbalas atayra beshuas ki atayra u bechinas koyach haruos bechinas tanta. Have you heard that? Tanta, right? You ever heard the word tanta? Tanta means in Yiddish, it actually means an ant. Tanta is an ant. What?
The Lone Ranger and Tanta.
What?
Sorry, tell me.
Okay, but it's the same letters. It's the same letters. So if you want to remember it, I'm just telling you, remember it like this. So what is that? There are tamim, right? There are tamim. There are nekudos. There are tagin, the little crowns on the top. And then you have the letters themselves. Right? Right? You have all the different things, right? You have the trup on the words, and you have the tagim, and you have the nekudos, and the letters, and what's the Rosh Teva? Tanta. Right? Yeah, okay, fine. Bechinas Bereshis. Okay, again, this is all in shorthand. Rav Nassan we're going to learn all these concepts in great depth when we get to Sefira Omer. This is just Roshei Prokim of Sefira Omer. Okay? Bebechinas Bereshis, kemavai b'makim acher in Hilchos Shavuos. Okay. Ve'al kain ne'orim kol halayla b'Shavuos, and therefore we stay up all night on Shavuos. Right? We're talking about before the Oymis Oyrim, right? When's the end of the Sefira? Is Shavuos. So we stay up at night on Shavuos. Why do we stay up at night on Shavuos? Kedei l'sakein es einayim. Wow, that's interesting. Everyone that stays up at night on Shavuos, they're trying to close their eyes, right? Right? You're sitting there, you're trying to daven, right? You're falling. But we're saying that's a tikkun for the einayim, because you're keeping your eyes open to see Torah. The Bereshis. Now, in Bereshis is the bays. It starts with a bays and it ends with a tough. Right? Bereshis. It has in there all the letter that's from the beginning until the end. You have everything in there. Shu koyach haruos uvazeh nitzolim mikores shu bechinas yehi achrisam liikores. And then if a person will be saved from kores, right? Kores is why the person dies prematurely before he's 40 years old, right? That's kores. Okay? He'll be saved from that. Nichras etzlam or hachoyzer me or hayosher machma she'ein mechavnin or einayim b'yoyshe b'kivon. Okay, that we were learning yesterday. The whole idea when you have the people out there that are not looking at Hashem and they're not focusing in on Hashem. They're looking at everything around them, right? They have the wide angle lens, and they see everything else, and they're looking for their hope from everything else in the world, but they're not realizing that the actual hope comes from Hashem, right? Do you understand that, right? They don't realize that the actual hope comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I mean, this is very similar to what we're dealing with here in Eretz Yisrael, this idea. right? So our government, they were saying on Yom HaShoah, they would see we have the army and we're going to protect the people. It's our responsibility to protect every citizen of Israel. They're missing the whole point. They're missing the whole point. Why does Hashem send all of the problems? Because you think you're going to protect everyone. It's not them. Yes, they're the shluchim, but they miss out on Hashem. This is the prime example of what we're learning. They're looking at everything else, but they don't realize the Yeshua comes from Hashem. They're not focusing on HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The day that they'll focus in on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all of our enemies, they'll just leave. You understand? We make our own problems. We make our own problems because we're not looking to Hashem for the salvation. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, you really think you could do this? So Hashem does all the things that He does to just show them, oh, you'll send a rocket? We have a defense system. We have a defense system. I mean, if you think about it, the first day, the first rocket that they sent, that they even allowed another rocket to ever come back again, shows how stupid they are. Mamish, why? Which other country? Where in the world would you allow the people to send rockets into civilian areas? Right? Again, this is the problem. In other words, they're not focusing in on Hashem. And that's why they'll send more rockets and more rockets. We'll have another defense system. We're going to do the David slingshot. We're going to get this one. No problem. They think they're playing a video game. It's like a video game. You know, they play the game. Remember they used to have the game Asteroids?
Yeah.
Remember that when I was a kid? I used to have that game, right? They're shooting at you. You have to shoot back at them, right? And if you shoot back better at them, so you win the game. It's a game by them. That's all it is.
In the first Gulf War,
Yeah.
they didn't have these defense systems, and all these scuds were shot at Israel, and nobody was killed.
But they don't, right? But that was you see Hashem. But they didn't. Did they praise Hashem?
Yeah.
Some.
Huh?
Some say.
Some say, right?
Yeah.
Very few in the government praised Hashem. Very few in the government. They talk it out in a way that it was because we were able to do it. But anyway, that's the problem, okay? So then that's when you get the chorus. That's not a good thing, okay? Okay, quotes that. Okay. Ubishvil zeh belel shvuas kisheniorim oimrim harashis va'achris mikol sidra umikol sefer. Okay, I don't know if you know this. Tikkun lel shvuas, right? Right? Do you know about that?
Yeah.
Tikkun lel shvuas, right? It's a big thing, right? So Tikkun lel shvuas is a beautiful thing that sets up that you can actually learn the beginning and end of all the parshiyas, of all mishnayos, of all Gemaras. You can do Zohar. You go through Shulchan Aruch. It's unbelievable how you go through it. It's all abridged. It's all an abridged thing. But this way you start and you finish. That's the point. You start and you finish. Start and finish. The problem is many times we start things, right? Kolas cholas koshes. But sometimes we get this started, but how many times do we actually finish it? Right? How many people start the Daf Yomi and then somewhere in Brachas or somewhere in Shabbos they get lost and then finished? I started it, but the question is, do I finish it? Right? The finishing it. But here that we're doing is our reishis for achris mikol sidra mikol sefer ki toiv achris dover me reishusai. Right? Isn't that nice? Ki toiv achris dover me reishisai. The end is better than the beginning. What does that mean? Toiv achris dover me reishisai. Right? The end is better than the beginning.
My son always tells me after davening, it's so nice to be done with davening.
The end is better than the beginning, right? Yeah, because he doesn't appreciate it yet.
No, I know, but even I said, I ask you a question, Leon. It's like, don't you feel better now? He goes, yes, I do.
Okay,
So
Baruch
it's not like.
but he's honest. That's great. He's honest. That's great.
But he had to answer that question, yes, because you asked him the question.
What?
The question is, do you really know if that's what he meant?
No, I do.
If my dad asked me that, I'd say, well, of course I feel better.
No, he voluntarily tells me he feels it's.
Oh, he volunteered. Oh, you don't ask him.
But,
Okay.
you know, it is. It's always better at the end. Like when you're
He's-
working out, it's always better at the end than when you finish working out.
But here's what he said. Listen to this. Kol hascholas koshas v'hagamar kosha biyoser. Beginnings are hard, but wait a second. To finish something is actually more difficult than to start it. Right? We all know kol hascholas koshas, right? We all know that, right? Every time you want to start something, it's going to be difficult to start it, right?
Breaking nature.
Huh?
Breaking nature.
Breaking nature, but now it's a bigger breaking nature to actually finish it. To actually stay with the program and finish the program. That's why you make it, when you make a siyum, it's a beautiful thing. Right? To sudas mitzvah, when you make a siyum, because you started the Masechta and you finished the Sefer. Right? That's a beautiful thing. Okay? Al kain ein mitzvah nikres ella al mi shegoimra. A mitzvah is only called a mitzvah if you finish it, you complete it. Right? A mitzvah is called a mitzvah when you complete the mitzvah. Right? You can have your tefillin and you can sit there looking at them all day long. Right? Oh, they're beautiful. Oh, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, look at this. Wow, look at this. I have to put the tefillin on my, I have to wear them here. You can sit there learning all the halachos of tefillin, but unless you put on the tefillin, it doesn't work. You have to do the mitzvah. You have to complete the mitzvah. Right? Misha goimra. When you start a mitzvah, there's a malach that says, Gemar, finish it. Right. Ki tzrichen loima loy gemar, ki tzrichen lechazek oisai al ha-gemar biyoser, ki ha-gemar kosher biyoser. Because finishing something is much more difficult than even starting it. And starting it, we know, everyone knows, kolas kosher. It's very hard to start. B'zeh bechlolius Yisrael, v'chein b'chol adam bechlolius avaydasai ufrotius b'chol mitzvah b'chol avoda. So the main thing is that we have to start something and we have to finish it. Right? That's the main important thing. Again, this has to do with Sefira, right? Because you start Sefira, you count the first day, right? But the main thing is to get to the 50th day, right? You want to finish it, right? You want to count every day. You want to make sure not to forget, and you want to count the bracha, and you want to get to the end line, right? The Sefira is actually divided up into two parts. It's divided up into Leiv Tov. You know that? Sefira is divided up into Leiv Tov. How do you get Leiv Tov out of Sefira? The first 32 days of Sefira till Lag BaOmer is Leiv. 32 is Leiv, right? It's something else, not inside. Leiv is 32. And then from Sefira, from Lag BaOmer to Shavuot is how many days? 17. Tov. Leiv Tov. What?
Yep, 17.
32 and 17 is 49, right? Yeah. Huh? That's also right. Okay, good. V'zeh bechinas machlokes kairach al Moshe. Zeh bechinas machlokes kairach al Moshe. That's the machlokes of kairach al Moshe. Shehil bishan talisa shekulam tchelis. Korach and his 250 men, right? They came to Moshe Rabbeinu, right? They were all wearing what? A talis. And what was that talis? It was blue. The whole talis was blue. Isn't it amazing? We can't figure out how to get tchelis today, and we don't know what the thing is. They were able to get 250 complete talesim that were completely blue. With the right stuff.
In the middle of the desert.
With the right stuff. No, but they had the right tchelis. They had the right one. Isn't that amazing? When you want to do something bad, like we said, the Yetzer Hara, he still, remember we learned this idea. We learned this idea when it came to bringing to what he called. When it came to the Egel Azov, everyone gave and they gave and they gave. There was no accounting for nothing. But when it came to the Mishkan, we had Vayakel Pekude, right? Pekude. Moshe Rabbeinu had to give everyone an accounting of where their money went. They gave gold, okay, it was used in this. The silver was used in this. The choshev, the skins were used on here. The izim were used over here. You had to give an accounting. Why? Because he said that the Yetzer Hara When it comes to doing an Avera, to do something, you just spend whatever you want. He doesn't care. Oh, when it comes to do a mitzvah, well, that's a little too expensive for me. Right? A little too expensive, right? Right? A lot of people, when it comes to a bar mitzvah, right? So the party, oh my gosh, they'll spend $100,000 on the party. When they go to the Sofer says, well, you can get these tefillin, they're $1,000. But this one's much better than $3,000. What is the $3,000? The $1,000's good, you said? The $1,000's good? It's kosher? Okay. Yeah, but you didn't have to make your party for $100,000. You could have made a party for $3,000. What are you doing? Again, that's the way the Yetzer Hara works. That's the way he works. You understand? When it comes to doing... So here we go. So they had a talus that was all blue. Could you imagine that? I sometimes think about it. We just read it, but if you think it through, what they must have had to gone through in order to get this. They were in the desert. Okay. Oh, here's another one now. Okay, so far we went through, isn't this beautiful, all the things we're going to be learning about? Right, in Sefira, right? So we understand now, we say, why we stay up at night, because we're making a tikkun for the Einayim. And why do we read with our Einayim? We're reading the Tikkun Leil Shavuos, which is the beginning and the end of everything that we learn, of everything of the Torah. Right? You have the Torah, Kol Torah Kula is in the Tikkun Leil Shavuos in short. But what's the point? We start and we finish. We start and we finish. Right? And now we said, so now when you finish davening in the morning, so then you get your cheesecake. Right? The whole point of Shavuot is to get your cheesecake, right? Isn't that the whole point, right? No?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Is your wife going to make us a cheesecake for Shavuot?
I guess so.
We'll get you a cheesecake, Mordecai. Don't worry. You just have to finish counting the Sefira. My wife would always tell the kids, you have to count Sefira, because if you don't count the Sefira and you don't count it every night, you can't get your cheesecake on Shavuos.
How does staying up
They always
all night,
made sure. They also. Yeah. How does what?
staying up all night rectify our eyes?
Because sometimes we keep our eyes open for things that we shouldn't have them open. But now when we're supposed to close our there's a good point you brought out. But sometimes we're supposed to close our eyes. We have eyelids, right? So sometimes when we see something we're not supposed to see, we can close our eyes. No, but we kept them open. So now I'm going to keep my eyes open to learn Torah, the beginning of all Torah and the end of all. I'm going to start and finish each parsha. I'm going to start and finish each one of the Mishnayos. I'm going to start each and one of the Gemaras. I'm going to start each and one of the Halachos and everything in Shulchan Aruch. I'm going to go through Tikkun Zayir. Unbelievable. All the Tanakh. You believe that? You go through all the Tanakh. It's unbelievable. It's so beautiful. Isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, that's the most beautiful night, just to see. You just go through all the. It's just remarkable. It's remarkable. It takes me about 5 hours to say the book, but okay. How long does it take you?
I don't do it.
Oh, you don't do it? Oh, okay.
I should, but I don't.
No, maybe this year. Maybe this year.
Do they have a book with all that in there?
Yeah, it's one book.
Is it an English version too?
They probably do. I don't know. I never.
What's it called?
Tikkun Leil Shavuot.
With Google Translate. With Google Translate.
Google translated Tikkun Leil Shavuot? Really? Okay. I don't know. Okay. V'chinas einav. Hey, look at this. Einav kiyonim alafike moyim. Right? So here the beautiful pasuk, unbelievable. Einav kiyonim. The eyes are like doves. Alafike mayim on the water, right? Like they're looking at the okay. Roichatzas becholav. Right, they have the cholav yoishves al malays. They're filled with the cholav. Okay, whatever that is. Al maloi shel olam da'ina bechinas hashkocha shleima, showing us that Hakadosh Baruch Hu has hashkocha shleima over the whole world. That's the whole point. And that we're trying to get at this, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is controlling everything in the world. The same way their eyes are looking, the same way we're trying to, that's why we have the Cholav, because they're in the Cholav. The Cholav is part of everything. The milk is a very important thing, right? Because the milk has all the nutrients and everything from the mother, right? Has everything in there that the baby needs. It's an amazing thing, right? When you see the milk there, the mother, what do you call it? They pump milk, and you see the babies drinking. It's amazing. That's in there has everything that's needed in there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like that for us. Hashem has the world in a way that everything is here that we need. If we know how to engage in it, right? We have to know how to engage in it. The Baal Shem HaKadosh said, you can find Hashem in everything in the world. Look for Hashem. Huh?
It's the biggest miracle, the mother's milk.
Oh.
It changes.
Yes.
There's the milk that the mother gives on the first day and the mother.
It has so many more different things.
It's different things.
Unbelievable. It's
Same
mamish.
with women.
No, what?
Same with women when they're nursing. There's something different the first few days.
Yes, that's what he's saying. That's what he just said. That's what he just said. No, women. Yeah, sure. Sure, it's very rich. The baby needs all different things, and it's so amazing how and the lady has no idea what's going on.
Blood turns into milk, we learned.
Yeah, we learned that. Yeah. No, but the lady has no idea what's going on inside. We have no idea. It's all Hashem is taking care of everything. He gives everything that the baby needs. He takes care of us, and realize it's all hashkacha. It's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching over every little nuance that we're involved in. And that's such an important thing to remember that. Bechinas reishis bikurei ad masecha tovi beis Hashem lekecha loisev ashel gedi bechalev imai. Right? Isn't that beautiful? They put the two things in the pasuk, right? Reishis bikurei ad masecha, right? Bring the bikurim. Right? What's reishis bikurei ad masecha? Bring the bikurim. We learned about the Bikurim. That was such a beautiful, beautiful thing. What was the Bikurim? The first of the Zion Minim, right? The Zion Minim, the 7 species of Eretz Yisrael, when you had them on in your fields, right, in Eretz Yisrael. So when the farmers saw and they had the olives or the grapes or whatever they had, they would mark off which one it is. Sometimes they would put something around it. They would tie a little bendel around, a little string around, so they would know that's the first one. And they would take those first fruits and they would put it into the basket, and they would bring it up to Yerushalayim. Right? When? On Shavuot. Right, they did that by Shavuot's time. That's when they did that's when they did the harvesting. All right, and then it says in the pasuk, "Loisev Ashel Gedi Bechalev Imai." You should not cook the Gedi in the baby, the baby, right? The baby Bechalev Imai in the mother's milk, and that's when we learn we don't have basa b'cholav. Okay. וזה שמובא שעיקר מה שדוחה השם יזברך את המלאכים שלא יקטרגו על נשינס התורה לישראל שאמר ייתן להם. Right? We know that, right? It said, Tenu ha'itchal hashamayim, right? The Malachim said, keep the Torah up here. Why are you giving the Torah to the Jewish people? Right? This is Shavuos. We're talking about Shavuos, right? So the Malachim and Shemayim, we're saying, why are you giving it to them? So what did Hashem say to them? The chiyah shalahem ha'isa yedei mitzvahs basa v'cholav. Shama lehem Hashem yizbarach v'alo yachaltem basa v'cholav eitzel Avram Avinu. Hey, didn't you eat basa v'cholav when it came to Avram Avinu?
No.
Huh?
We always don't know that they first had butter, then they had meat.
Yeah, but okay, but the laws of basa v'cholav, they were involved in it, right? They had to deal with it, right? Avram Avinu, right? It was Pesach, remember, right? So they had the carbon Chagiga and the carbon Pesach. Avram Avinu gave them the tongues, but you know that Avram, you saw from that Avram Avinu he ate kidneys because it had chardal, right? Mustard, right? He had kidneys, huh?
Yeah.
So that's our minhag.
He was
What?
right.
He was a Sephardi, right? There we go. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Avram Avinu b'chalev. Okay, ki iser basa v'cholav hu chidish gadol. This idea of basar v'cholav is a very big chiddush. Ki osar levashel basar afilu gedi b'chalei v'imay sheyoinik mimena. Right? You know, you can't cook the two together that the baby was yoinik from the mother. Right? Yoinik mimena. Right? V'niza mimena v'chol chiyusay mimena. The whole chiyus of the gedi comes from the mother, from the mother. The calf is from the mother. V'hagedi ba'atzmai muta ba'achila b'chola ba'atzma muteres. V'hagedi ba'atzmai muta ba'achila v'achola ba'atzma muteres. Right. So but the baby can drink the milk. Right. The baby can still drink. But you can't put them together. We can't put them together.
We can eat the baby and we can drink the milk too.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, but not together.
Not together.
Shekol zeh moirishi efshel lahasik darkei hashkachasa yizbarach shebezeh tolei ikar kabbalah satorah. To understand, why you would think like this: hey, I'm allowed to drink milk, and I'm allowed to eat the meat. So why can't I do them together? No, Torah says no. You can do them. You can have milk, but you can't have the milk and the meat together. Eat them separately. Even though when it's part the baby, the gedi is part with the mother, it's one. But Hashem says no. But if you want to eat, you want to engage in that, you have to do them separately. It's a fascinating thing. That's how again you see the hashgacha pratis on Hashem, how He set everything up so perfectly. V'chol advar me'ilu me'ois vav v'loi nichtav mehem ki im roshei prokim v'im yih Hashem imodi yizbaru kitzas. Okay, so this was just a little preview of Sefira Saimer. We went through a few different ideas on Sefira Saimer. We went through ideas on understanding the Omer Sa'irim and then the Shtei Alechem. We understand the idea that why we stay up at night. It's a tikkun for a night. And we understand that we have the beginnings and the ending. It's difficult to begin, but it's more difficult to end. Right? It's a very important idea. When you start something, work on finishing it. And like we said, today is the midah of Hod Shebigvura. When you finish another daf, when you finish another dvar halacha, whatever you're doing, and you're getting your thing, thank Hashem that He gave you the opportunity to learn that, to get closer to the finish line. Thank Hashem each time. There's a tefillah in the front of a Gemaras, and there's a tefillah you say before you learn, and a tefillah you say after you learn. Do you know that? There's a tefillah. If you take out the Art Scroll Gemara, they have a tefillah in there. You take out you have a tefillah before you learn, a tefillah. Thank Hashem before that you give me the opportunity to learn, and then thank Hashem that I was able to learn. That you kept my eyes open, that I was able to learn. Every time you open your eyes and you're looking at Torah, you're making a tikkun for the Einayah. Right? That's why we stay up at night reading the Torah. Okay, so that was this idea. Baruch Hashem. Let's go learn one halacha now in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Okay, we're moving along in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, so we have to thank Hashem for that. Okay, here we go. We're in Yud Ches. We're up to Vav today. 6. Here we go. So we're learning Hilchas Shmona Esrei, right, which is Siman Yud Ches, and today we're up to Sifkat and Vav. Here we go. Yizor lehispalo belachash. Oh, here we go. He's saying Shmona Esrei. You have to say the Shmona Esrei quietly, belachash, whispering. Rakshu atzma yishma mashu oimer. But you have to say it in a tone that you can still hear the words that you're whispering. Remember that we said that. That's a very important thing. When you're davening, you say the words and you listen to what you're saying. So when it comes to Shmona Esrei, you would have thought, wait a second, I have to be quiet. No, but you whisper the words in a way that you can still hear them, but your neighbor won't hear them. Right? You're right. Right? When you're saying Shmona Esrei, you're okay. Lo yishma koilai, and that's a very important thing. It's a private tefillah, right? So the guy standing next to you should not hear what you're saying. Some guys think they'll be more from, they'll say the words, but that's wrong. This is the private Shmona Esrei. You can't say the words out loud. You have to say the words quietly. Right? When it came to Chana, where do we learn the laws of Shmona Esrei? From Chana. right? She was davening in the Mishkan in Shiloh, right? She was davening and then Eli HaKohen thought that she was drunk. Right? What's this lady doing? She's standing here and she's mumbling words, but he couldn't hear the words she was saying. So he thought she was drunk. But that's where Chazal learned out the laws of Shmon Esrei from that Maisa. Unbelievable. Again, Hashgacha Pratis, the way Hashem runs the world, right? This lady is davening for her child. Who is Chana's child? Shmuel Hanavi. Shmuel Hanavi. Shmuel ordained Shaul HaMelech, and then he ordained David HaMelech, right? Right? All from Chana, from that tefillah. So you see how a lady is davening, and when she's davening and she's talking to Hashem, only Hashem can hear, but she can also hear. But Eli HaKohen was saying he couldn't hear what she was saying. He couldn't hear what she was saying. And because he couldn't hear what he was saying, we see that when you daven to Hashem in that way, that it's between you and him. And you know and you believe that Hashem is listening to what you're saying. You believe that. So then HaKadosh Baruch Hu can give a child like Shmuel Hanavi. Isn't that amazing? So the main thing is here, when you learn, when you're davening, you daven in a way, it's quiet, only between you and Hashem. You're supposed to hear what you're saying, but no one else is supposed to hear what you're saying. Okay? I want to wish everyone a good Shabbos and a Chodesh Tov. Yeah, it's going to be Rosh Chodesh, but Shabbos Mubarak.
When is Rosh Chodesh? Tuesday, no?